Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to make polls in Pycord. For example, ignore this is a feature. If you upvote, it updates. If you downvote, it updates, and this gets locked after the expiration date has passed. And you can set cool embed title and a description, and maybe even an image. So yeah, let's do that. So I already have this set up. Here we got the connection on ready. Let's first create the command to send a poll, so @bot.command, and let's call it end poll. Have a description as send a poll. So now that we got the title and description, we can make the main command. So def send poll, and then we're going to do ctx, title of the poll, channel of the poll, minutes of the poll, description of the poll, the image, and then we're going to do colors, so RGB and hex code. CTX, that's just going to be the context of the command. The title, it's going to be what you send through as the title for the embed. The channel is going to be what channel you send the poll to. The minutes, it's going to be the amount of time the poll is going to be active for within the database. And the description is just going to be the description in the poll. The image is going to be optional, some colors. So now we're going to add all these options. So we're going to use the decorator at discord.option, and this decorator is basically the same. It's the same as doing type discord.option, like the object option instead of the function. And if you don't know what a class decorator is or a function decorator, then I'll put a link in the description to what that means, and that link should help you figure out what this does. Discord.option, we're going to set the name to title, we're going to set the type to string, and that should be the title. We're going to discord.option, we're going to do the same thing for the channel, name is equal to channel, and then the type is going to be discord.text channel. Right, so this is the text channel type. I'll link the docs in the description of what that is. And then we're also going to do channel type, and the channel type is going to let you choose specific channels that you want it to be able to send it to. So instead of just normal channels like, you know, this channel, the welcome channel, right, we'll be able to send it into announcement channels, which you normally wouldn't be able to do without setting the channel type. Okay, because it was a lot to type, I have this code already from my past project. Here we have the channel types, and these are all enums. So channel types is, if I were to go into discord.option into the option class, channel types. Channel types are a list of type channel type. And basically this is an enum that allows you to select what channel you want the option to be able to select. So if you want the channel type to be text, you can set that here. And this is a list of the enum types that we want the bot to be able to send. Now we want to be able to do minutes. So minutes is just discord.option. It's just an int value that I'll talk about what that does later. After minutes, we're going to have description. So description is going to be equal to, and the type is obviously also going to be string, and this should be required equal to false. And this is going to be a type image. So type is going to be discord.attachment, and it's not going to be required. And now we'll do colors. So that's going to be really simple. It's just going to be int value on the RGB scale. The max you can have is 250, so we're going to have that here as well. It doesn't create any errors. Min value is 0, and we're just going to do this for R, G, and B. For hex code, it's basically hex color. It's just going to be discord.option. It's just going to be type string required false. Now let's see if this actually works. So let's print out, got the most important part. This should be asynchronous. Let's print out all of these, and if someone uses this command, it should print out all of these values. Yeah, so another thing to note is that on connect, or at bot.event, if you redefine on connect, then commands won't be synced, so it has to be bot.listen. I forgot to do that a second ago, so now let's just put some random values, and now it prints all of the different options that we put, so we know that this works, and that's good. So now let's move on to actually making the command. So first we're going to check if the user manages the guild. So ctx.user.guild permissions.manage guild is true, so this checks if the user manages the guild. You can set this to really anything like administrator. Hopefully I'll link the documentation in the description. If I forget, please comment about that. Yeah, so now we're just going to send a basic poll. So from channel, we're going to send a message, embed, right? So we're going to await this, and this is just going to send an embed to the channel. So we're going to do embed is equal to discord.embed. We're going to do title is equal to title, description is equal to description, and because description might be none because they didn't input anything because it's not required, then we can set if description is none, then description is equal to just an empty string. And then after having the title and description, we can just put embed.image to the attachment that they put, which was URL is equal to image.url. It should send an embed with the title, description, and an image. So we have an image of Barney and a description of hi. Then they should send a embed of title test, and description of hi, and oh, we forgot to set embed is equal to embed. But now this should work. Send an attachment of test hi. So to send an embed's color attribute, it needs a color class type, and to get that, we're going to first set the color to discord.color.random, just in case they don't actually set any of these things. If hex code is not none, so then we're going to convert the hex code into an RGB color. So def, let's make a handy dandy helper function for this. Hex to RGB, and we're going to put the hex, and then we're going to use this hello function. So from import image color, we can use a function from here. So image color dot get color, and then we're going to get the hex, and then we're just going to set this to RGB, and then we're just going to return this. And this Stack Overflow post helped me create this function, so I'll link it in the description. And yeah, so now we're just going to do hex to RGB. We're going to call this function and put in the hex code, and after the color is equal to hex code, we're going to set color to a discord.color type, so discord.color.from RGB, and then we're just going to do color of 0, color of 1, and color of 2. So this is just going to convert the color into something we can use. From hex to RGB to Discord's color type, and then we're going to use this color is equal to color. So now we know that color will always be either a random value or something the user set in hex code. And then let's say they wanted to set RGB, right? If R is not none, then we're going to make sure that all of these values are not equal to none, and G is not none and B is not none. Then we're going to easily set the color to discord.color.fromRGB RGB. It's really simple. And now we got color set up. And if we test this, oh yeah, also, we have to make sure that this is not equal to none. So if image is not none, then we're going to run this, otherwise you'll get an attribute error. And yeah, so if you set some colors, then it'll set the RGB of the embed. And now this also works for hex code as well. And now it should be able to process the hex code, and it works. And now the reason you see this application did not respond yet is because we did not send a reply statement, and we'll do that now. Await ctx.respond, sent message, and we can make this an ephemeral, and that basically means that this message will be hidden to other users except for the person who ran the command. So if we use this, run the same command as before, it should be hidden that we sent the message. We're going to set an expiry time to this embed, because in the database we don't want to save every single message that is a poll, right? We want to delete it at some point and have the user set a time when they want to delete it. And that's why we create minutes. And we want minutes to be within a certain time frame. So now we're going to set an expiry time using minutes, and the way we do this is expiry time is equal to datetime.datetime.utc now, and we got to import datetime, so import datetime is going to give us the UTC time of right now, so that should be pretty universal. And then now we're going to do datetime plus time delta, and time delta allows for days, seconds, microseconds, and you can add date times together using this. And we're just going to do minutes is equal to minutes, because we have minutes up here. And technically you can create other parameters like days, milliseconds, years even, add it to time delta, and the expiry time will be updated for that. And expiry time, we're going to use this to expire a message in the database when after this amount of time, the minutes set. So in the description we're going to add the expiry time, so then the user knows that their time expires at that date. So we're going to put 2 new lines, and this is an F string, so we can put the expiry time here, and then we're going to put T of expiry time, and we want to make sure this is epoch. So the way we set this to epoch time, I use this handy dandy link over here, and the way we do this is we got to import calendar, and then from calendar we're going to do calendar.timegm, which takes a tuple, and because this is not a tuple, expiry time, we're going to make it a tuple, so dot time tuple, and now this will return the seconds, which is epoch time. And you can basically set this to anything. So if I set the minutes to something in the far future, like very far, that's next year. So now you want to add upvote and downvote buttons. Those are very important to any poll. And the way we do this is by saving the message sent, which is this. Let's call this m, variable m. We'll do m.add reaction. I'm going to await this. I'm going to add the reaction. And the way you get this emoji is Windows period. I'm not sure how you do this for Mac. Add reaction, and then we're going to do downvote. If we update this, it should add both upvote and downvote. So now we're going to make it so that when you upvote, there should be a bar below that shows the percentage of upvote to downvote ratio, just like this. So first we're going to set the footer to a filler, which we're going to replace later when the user upvotes and downvotes. And you're probably wondering, well, how do you check upvotes and downvotes when the bot goes offline and comes back? And the way you do this is with the database. With JSON and all that other stuff, depending on what you're using, it may not properly work. And if you're using something like GitHub, then that JSON will get rewritten every time you commit and push and all this other stuff. So the best way to do this is with the database, and we're going to use MongoDB to save the message ID as well as the expiry date, so then we can delete that after a certain amount of time. We're going to use MongoDB, so we're going to import PyMongo. And from PyMongo, we're going to get the client of PyMongo. So pymongo.mongo client, and we're gonna set the key. So I've got a tutorial where I've already done all this stuff, and it should be really easy for you to set up. If you have any problems, join my Discord server or reply in the comments. I should respond pretty quickly. Okay, yep, it works. Okay, now with client, we're gonna make the database called fun, because database is in fun and the collection is polls. Database is equal to client.fun, call is equal to database.polls. And now to save the message ID, it's really simple. So all it is call.insert1, and then just underscore ID is the m.id, so the message ID. And then we're also going to save the expiry date. So expiry date is going to be this expiry time here. And because it's time.time, we can access a bunch of stuff later. Let's see if this works. So there we go. So now we got the message ID and the expiry date, which is in time.time format, which is perfect. And now we can use this when we check for upvotes to edit the message to show that the user upvoted a certain amount. So we're going to do epbot.listen of async def on raw react, and the reason we want to use on raw react is because sometimes the reaction sent is not in the bot's cache, so then it gets skipped, and we don't want that. We want all the reactions to be sent through, so then it's 100% accurate. Inside on raw react, we're going to put the payload. We're going to set the message ID of the payload to use later as message underscore ID payload message ID. So now we're going to check if this message ID is in the database. Call.find one of the message ID, and we're going to make this into underscore ID is equal to message ID. So try to find this message ID in the database. And because message IDs are unique, this is pretty easy. So we're going to do message is equal to this, and if message is not none, then this should be a message that was in our database. So let's print something. Okay, this name is false, that's why it didn't work. So it's actually on raw reaction add, my bad. So now, if we react to a message that is in our database, it should print wowie. And yeah, that's pretty simple, and we're going to make a system for deleting it if it's past its time and making sure that this is updated. So if message is not none, to edit the message, we're going to first get the channel, and then from the channel, we're going to find the message. So we're going to do channel, wait, bot.fetch channel is going to be payload.channel ID, and the message is going to equal channel.fetch message 14, so we're going to do await, and then we're going to do message underscore ID, and this should fetch the message. So now we got the message, and we're going to do embed is equal to message.embeds, and then 0. So it's going to get the embeds in the message and set it to embed. And now we can edit the embed, so embed.set footer, which was this previously. And before we set the footer, we're going to get the 2%, and we're going to get the amount of emojis for each. So the way we do that is value1 is equal to discord.utils.get message.reactions. And we're going to make sure the emoji is equal to, which should be this emoji, the same emoji we used before. We're going to -1 because the bot reacts once, and that's the amount of emojis for the upvote. We're going to do downvote as well. We're going to subtract 1. So now we get value 1 and value 2, upvotes and downvotes. Actually, you know what? I'm going to name that upvotes and downvotes just for simplicity. Now we're going to get the percent, but first let's have a string called bar. So bar is just going to be a normal string that we can set to the footer later. It's going to equal bar try. So the reason we're doing try is, let's say we get a 0 division error. We can obviously accept that, right? So accept 0 division error because we're getting percents, right? We're just going to pass this because, you know, there's nothing we really need to do. And we're going to try to get the %1 and %2. %1 is going to be upvotes, %2 is going to be downvotes, and basically this is going to be the percentage of upvotes divided by both the values combined, and that's going to give us the percent of upvotes. So upvotes divided by upvotes plus downvotes, and we're going to multiply this by 10, so we get a value upvotes and downvotes. We're basically going to multiply this by 100 because we're turning a percent into a float value that's double digits. Now we're going to set the bar to an f string, so bar is equal to an f string of %1 times whatever emoji you want to put here, %2 sad face. We're going to set this to int because, you know, maybe it's a float, just in case. And now the bar, update to different emojis. Oh, wait, we got to do .count. Oh yeah, we set the footer, but then we got to edit the message. So message.edit, this is going to be asynchronous, so embed is equal to embed. We're going to await this. So now this should work, and now it's a progress bar that's 100% happy. If you downvote it, it's all sad. And this is a bit much, so we're going to divide by 10. We're going to remove 1 here. Yeah, that's way better. We're almost done with the tutorial, but before we do that, let's add some percentage bars here. So let's say you want the upvote percentage. Upvote is going to be percentage of, let's do this string, so that's just going to be %1. And then we're just going to do downvotes here. Downvotes %2. Yep, it shows us the percentage, multiply that by 10. So once this expiry date passes, we want to delete this from the database and the message ID so we can save data. And the way we do that is with message and expiry date, so we're indexing expiry date, and then we're going to change this to ISO format, so then we can compare it, and then if it's less than now, the UTC now of the ISO format, then it'll just delete that column and ID of message ID. But then we also want it to delete when it's on ready, so then when the bot goes online. And the way we do that is basically the same, and we just have to loop through the entire database instead. So it's for message in the column, and we're going to get everything. And then it's the same thing as here. You've reached the point where you can probably program something like this yourself, and hopefully you learned something. This is Blue Robin. I've got a Discord server, and my Discord bot is in here, where has a bunch of cool commands like random Bob Ross. If you want to start off your morning, right? You got random Bob Ross. You got the same polls command that we just made. Yeah, we got counting. That's cool. We also got something even cooler. It's 2048 in Discord, like the game. 8-ball, which is just 8-ball. And you know, it even has encryption. So if you want to encrypt a message for your friends, you want it to only be, you want to set a key because you only want Mr. Bean to access it. You just put, and here you got your encrypted message that you can copy. And then if you want to decrypt it, just paste it here, put the key, and it unlocks and says the message. We also got cool support. So if you need help with anything from the video or the bot or just anything, you got a help channel.